Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gauranitai, 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 Jai Gauranitai. Jai Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada. Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada.
Srila Prabhupada ki, Sri Jagannath Puri ki, ki. So we're going to start now. We're going to sing some Satyava to Srila Prabhupada and after Srila Prabhupada Vyasa Puja book. While that is going on, we will sing some Satyava. When that's finished, then we will read the meaning of Vyasa Puja by His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj, and we will read Maharaj's offering to Srila Prabhupada as the GBC for South Africa.
find another one. They sent two us. Come let's go.
Jagannath Puri Prabhupada ki. Jagannath Puri Prabhupada ki.
Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Prabhupada Sata Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki ISKCON Samstapakacharya Srila Prabhupada ki BBT Founder Srila Prabhupada ki Srila Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja ki. So now we'll read the meaning of Sri Vyasa Puja. This was written by His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj, and we're going to ask Jalangi Maharaji to read. Hare Krishna. Don't drop my...
Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki. The meaning of Vyasa Puja. We celebrate Srila Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja because of the connection between him and the great sage Srila Vyasadeva. The idea is that Srila Prabhupada is the representative of Vyasa and the embodiment of his message, which is the essence of who and what Vyasa is. We therefore celebrate the oneness there is between them, and at the same time the special contributions Srila Prabhupada made in his own way to Vyasa's mission. Srila Vyasadeva is an extremely significant person. Even though there are many sages who have said many meaningful things on the basis of Vedic knowledge, Vyasadeva is considered unique. In this regard, the Padma Purana states, Devya Pyanyena Yad Buddham Brahmadhyas Tanu Bhudyate Sarva Buddham Savai Veda Tad Buddham Nayango Charam. Even Brahma and the other demigods do not know everything Dvaipanya Vyasa knows. He understands everything known to everyone else, but some things he knows no one else can comprehend. Vyasa Chita Stitaka Sad Avachanini Kanichit Anya Vyavaharanti Etani Urikritya Griha Diva. The Skanda Purana says, other sages make use of small collections of ideas they have carved on the infinite sky of Vyasadeva's mind. They take advantage of those borrowed ideas, like people who pick up things discarded from someone else's house. In every age, different persons incarnate as Srila Vyasadeva to divide and organize the Vedic literatures. But among them, our Vyasa, who was present at the time of Lord Krishna 5,000 years ago, is considered special because he is considered to be an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Narayan himself in person, and not just an empowered jiva. In the Vishnu Puran, Parasa Muni states that, O best of Brahmanas, you can understand that thus in each of the rotations of the cycle of 4 ages, a different Vyasa organizes the branches of the Vedas. But know that Krishna Dvaipanya Vyasa is the Supreme Lord Narayan himself. Who else on this earth, Maitreya, could be the author of Mahabharata? A particular qualified Vyasadeva had to appear at this time, as there was a crisis on earth because of a curse of the sage Gautama that all knowledge would be lost. The Varaha Purana explains that long ago the sage Gautama performed austerities in Dandakaranya forest. As a result, Lord Brahma became pleased with him and gave him some special rice seeds that could produce crops under any circumstances. Gautama then established an ashram at Sapsranga mountain, sowed these seeds, and to his great satisfaction, rice plants immediately started growing there. He lived there at Sapsranga mountain for some time. Then a great famine suddenly struck. No food was available anywhere except the rice that was growing at his ashrama. Despite the famine, the fame of his ashrama and the rice that was growing there had spread. In this way, most of the sages and saintly people in the universe assembled there, and they asked him if they could stay with him till the famine was over. He agreed, and for a long time they were there, discussing Shastra and pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. However, after some time, the famine finished, and the sages wanted to leave for their own places. It is Vedic practice that if you are visiting someone and you want to leave, you have to get their permission, otherwise you cannot go. So the sages asked Gautama if they could leave. However, he had become very attached to their association and would not let them depart. The Varaha Purana further explains that the sages then decided to perform a mystical trick to get away from Gautama. They made a magical Maya cow and left her near Gautama's ashram. Upon seeing the cow, Gautama sprinkled some sanctified water on her, but by the powers of those sages, she suddenly dropped dead. They then proclaimed that they could not stay with the cow killer and that they would have to return to their own ashrams now. Later, when Gautama saw that the cow had been an illusion created by the sages, he became extremely angry and pronounced a curse that all knowledge would be turned into ignorance. As a result, all the sages in the universe lost their understanding of Vedic literatures. Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan explains that this is how Vedic knowledge was lost at the end of Dwapara Yuga, as Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 4.2, Evam parampara praptam imam rajasaya vudhu sakalena mahata yogo nasta parantapa. This supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time, succession was broken, and therefore the science appears to be lost. So the situation was extreme when the time came for Vyasadeva to appear. An especially powerful Vyasa was required to revive Vedic knowledge. Therefore, our Vyasa is particularly important among other Vyasadevas. In a similar way, our Srila Prabhupada is especially important among Vyasa's representatives. There are many devotees who have written commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, but who has made that contribution he has made? He took Vyasa's message and presented it to huge numbers of people around the world in a way that you can understand and apply in their lives. To make something as profound as Vedic knowledge understandable and followable by residents of Kali Yuga takes a type of genius that is so rare it's practically unheard of. However, this does not mean that Srila Prabhupada's presentation is just for simple people. When we go through Srimad Bhagavatam, we can see that there's so much depth of sagacity that in every support we find new jewels of understanding that revolutionize our perspectives on Krishna consciousness. It never fails to amaze us. So on this day of Srila Prabhupada's divine appearance in the world, we worship him as a perfect representative of Srila Vyasadeva. May his glories be spread throughout the three worlds. Srila Prabhupada ki. His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj ki.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki. So now we're going to have Maharaj's offering. His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj's offering, read by Damodar Gopal Prabhu, if I can find him. Damodar Gopal Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. My dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to you, the Savior of the world and of me. Time passes by. It seems like not long ago that I moved into the temple in London at 7 Bury Place, near the British Museum and not far from Oxford Street, the main street. Actually, it was 50 years ago, on January 7th this year. You saved me from a fate worse than death, locked into a way of life full of degradation and unhappiness. I didn't know which way to turn, and all the ways I tried turning were dead ends, full of suffering and confusion. I was frustrated with materialistic life, and as far as I was concerned, I was now retired, albeit at this early age of 21 years. But it just didn't seem worthy to preserve on in working life. So I was trying to find an alternative path, but it was so elusive. Within about 2 weeks of moving into the temple, I felt my life had become revolutionized. My anxieties dissolved, and I felt a sense of positiveness I had not known before. As you said, Srila Prabhupada, in your Vyasa Puja offering to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati in 1935, message of service thou hast brought, a helpful life as Chaitanya wrought. Unknown to all, it's full of praise. That's your gift, your divine grace. Where would it be if you had not entered my life, Srila Prabhupada? I hate to think that there's no doubt it would be far worse than where I am now. Where would the world be if you not had come? Actually, the world is in a disastrous condition, and it just seems what can go wrong if people do not follow your instructions. But even so, if you had not come, it would be far worse than it is. So now I have to try to follow you and make your mission my mission in life. People can respond when Krishna consciousness is presented to them, and many have. We just have to keep on giving it to them, and praying for the potency to become worthy instruments in your hands. By your mercy, so much in my life has changed in these 50 years, but much more has to change. I pray at your divine lotus feet to help me remain in your service until this body drops. Your lowly servant, Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj.
His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Thank you very much, Prabhu. We now have the offering by His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj, read by Braj Mohan Prabhu.
Krishna. When I joined the Boston Temple in 1969, Satsvarupa Das was the temple president and also the editor of BTG. And he always wanted articles for the magazine. So I wrote one entitled, The Genuine Spiritual Master. And by the time the issue with my article reached you in February of 1971, I was with you in Gorakhpur, India. After reading my article, you called for me. The temple room was dimly, only some narrow shafts of light pierced through the slim opening in the wooden shutters along the side. Sitting alone on your raised cushion at the far end of the room, you were the very image of the eternal spiritual master. And your voice resonated with the truth of eternal time. I sat at your feet, eyes and ears wide open. I saw your article in the Back to Godhead. You said, "It was very nice, you should write. This is your first business. Go on writing. We require many, many such articles about Krishna consciousness. So you should devote yourself to writing." "I will try," I said. "But why are you asking me? I have no special qualification. We require many to do the work, to do this work, and we need you also. So you travel with me, and I will guide you. You come and stay with me." I felt thrilled and honored. You had never before given me a direct instruction. In fact, we had hardly ever spoken, and now you were inviting me to stay with you. I felt a little intimidated and wondered how it would work. Also, I had always worked under my authorities. You should tell them about your proposal. So I asked, "How will we decide whether I should travel with you or what I should do?" You replied, "By mutual consultation," and you instructed me, "See that my books are accepted in the universities by the scholarly class." Then you asked if I ever thought of getting married. "No," I said, "I never think of getting married." And after a moment, I added, "The only time I ever thought of getting married was when I saw that all the GBCs were married." "You will never be GBC," you said, and you continued, "It is best to avoid marriage. Sex desire is like an itch. If you have an itch and you scratch it, it just becomes worse. Similarly, sex desire is there, and if you try to satisfy it, it becomes worse. So it is better to tolerate not only sex desire, all the demands of the senses, eating and sleeping also. Better to tolerate, so you remain brahmachari. And after 2 or 3 years, I will give you sannyas." In a matter of 20 minutes, you had given me my whole life's program in Krishna consciousness. I was always thinking of you then. Sometimes at night, I couldn't even sleep. I would just be thinking of how wonderful you were. I would stand at the balcony near your room and look out over the surrounding fields at the stars and the bright moon. I was in so much ecstasy that you had read my article and invited me to travel with you. And I experienced an awakening in my heart of a type of affection I had never felt before. Over the years, you repeated your instruction for me to write. In a letter to me dated August 12th, 1971, you wrote, "In the midst of your heavy duties, go on writing something glorifying the Lord and put our philosophy into words. Writing articles means to express oneself how he is understanding the whole philosophy. So this writing is necessary for everyone." In 1973, I sent you my Vyasa Puja offering, and on August 23rd, from Bhaktivedanta Manor, you sent me an encouraging note. I beg you to acknowledge receipt of your letter with a nice Vyasa Puja offering you sent. I have sent it to Satsvarupa Goswami for printing in the for printing in the BTG. Writing is a very important part of our work, and Satsvarupa is always anxious to have new material from the devotees for expanding the BTG. You have a nice talent for writing, and practice makes perfect. So continue. It will be appreciated. Eventually, BTG published my offering in which I described my first meeting with you and how you had transformed my life. All glories to you. You have given me light to open my eyes, which were firmly shut tight. When we first came to you in the darkness of night, the words from your lips made everything bright. What is your goal? Godhead to find or God to become? Please make up your mind. If you want to become God, you can't be God now. Can a non-God become God? Please let me know how. God is within you, sitting there in your heart, just waiting for your loving service to start. But if you insist that you want to be Him, you are cheating yourself and have nothing to win. If the seed of devotion with chanting you sow, then God will give sunlight to help make it grow. But if to become God remains your ambition, why then should God help his own competition? Krishna is God, and God, he is always. On Yashoda's lap, or in Dwarika's hallways, or in Kurukshetra, he's God, all the same. It's not that by yoga, the Lord, he became. You are a spark, and God is the fire. You can be godly if you truly desire. Your qualities match his, but his quantity is different. For God's nature is infinite, whereas you are insignificant. I cannot be God, for I truly am small, but he kindly allows me to serve him, that's all. That is his mercy, transcendental and sweet. Take it, be happy, that's all I entreat. Thus, your divine grace, I was blessed to meet, and thus I was forced to fall at your feet. You poured heart-like words through the holes of my ears to clean out my heart. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sorry. My apology. and vanquish my fears, arousing within me my love for the Lord, my actual life as his servant restored. Now I beg to remain an individual soul, serving the servant on the one spirit whole. All glories to you. You have given me this, a life that's eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. Take me from the darkness, cold and alone, back to Godhead, back to home. In recent years, I have edited life's final exam, death and dying from the Vedic perspective, and written Watering the Seed, with teachings from His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Many Moons, Reflection on Departed Vaishnavas, I Will Build You a Temple, The Juhu Story, and now Dancing White Elephants, traveling with Srila Prabhupada in India, August 1970 to March 1972. On this occasion, I pray to you to bless me that I can continue to serve you, the devotees, and the world by writing about Krishna consciousness in the right consciousness. As you wrote in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela 19.132. It is certainly not good to write literature for money or reputation, but to write books and publish them for the enlightenment of the general populace is real service to the Lord. That was Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's opinion, and he specifically told his disciple to write books. He actually preferred to publish books rather than establish temples. Temple construction is meant for the general populace and neophyte devotees. But the business of advanced and empowered devotees is to write books, publish them, and distribute them widely. According to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, distributing literature is like playing on a great madanga. Consequently, we always request members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness to publish as many books as possible and distribute them widely throughout the world. By thus following in the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami, one can become a Rupanuga devotee. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Your eternal grateful servant, Giriraj Swami.
His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. We will now have the offering of His Holiness Padasati March, read by His Grace Bhaktivedanta Thakur Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Vyasa Puja offering to Srila Prabhupada by Parthasarati Das Goswami. My dear eternal spiritual master Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to your divine grace, all glories to your sincere followers. Recently, while at Govardhan Hill, Vrindavan, where I have been religiously residing over winter, over the last 30 years, I was diagnosed with stage 2 thyroid cancer. It was a surprise, and as quickly as it came, it also seemingly disappeared. The whole episode lasted 3 months, but I can't help but think that cancer-type-related problems don't really go away at the age of 70. They simply reduce for a while and return. During that period, I intensified my most important activity, which is my prayers and feeble attempt at bhajana. I experienced what I have always been longing for, a deeper relationship with your divine grace, and felt immensely satisfied. As your divine grace has written in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, Text 17, purport, a devotee's duty, therefore, is to ungrudgingly accept tribulations from the Lord as a benediction. I feel exhilarated and enlivened by the development of my relationship with your divine grace and your revealing yourself and your moods. It is your causeless mercy. When will that day come? When can I actually have some genuine feelings or love for your divine grace? When will that day come when tears will flow from my eyes, when I think in gratitude of everything that you have done for me? When will that day come when in my meditation I can understand your position in Gaura Leela? You must be a very close and intimate associate of Sri Chaitanya. When will that day come when I can understand your personality, your sentiments and moods? When will that day come when I can associate with you? When will that day come when I can render some personal service to you? When will that day come when I can worship the most important person in my life with the most important method? Externally, the worship of your divine grace means to worship your instructions, and internally to worship you means to worship you with the tears from my eyes. One cannot be separated from the other. Your servant eternally, Parthasarathi Das Goswami, Durban, South Africa. His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. His Holiness Parthasarathi Das Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai.
So now we'll have the offering by His Grace Govardhan Prabhu as the co-GBC for South Africa. While Mataji is reading the offering, we will try and get Prabhupada ready to move him for his Abhishek. Thank you.
Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my prostrated obeisances at your lotus feet. All glories to your divine grace, all glories to your ISKCON, all glories to your BBT, all glories to your devotees. The greatest ambassador of benevolence, Srila Prabhupada, I come before you again, as I have done over the last decades, on the occasion of your Vyasa Puja celebration, to express my heartfelt appreciation and gratitude. You wrote, in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.10, that translates that man is most unfortunate. They have short lives, are misguided, and most of all, they are upardurta, always disturbed. Yet, out of your love and compassion, you set out to reverse this pitiful situation. Somehow, I have met your divine grace through the pages of your books. You saved me from pursuing a misdirected life. Srila Prabhupada, you are the greatest ambassador of benevolence. You carried in your hearts the evangelistic spirit and determination to share the most valuable knowledge of devotional service with the world. This desire to share, give, and save permeates our Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya. At the time of creation, Lord Brahma, the first citizen of this material universe, held in his hands a book and japa beads. Srila Vyasadeva, in his deep samadhi, foresaw the devastating effects of Kali Yuga and gave the Srimad Bhagavatam. Then the 6 Goswamis wrote over 100 books on the science of devotion. Srila Kaviraj Goswami, at an advanced age, wrote the Chaitanya Charitamrita, noting that a version of the Ramayana written in Bengali, was greatly appreciated in West Bengal. He wrote the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur sent the first book on Lord Chaitanya to the West, and he taught his son, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, about paper and the printing press. And he, in turn, ordered you to preach in the English language. In essence, your mood and mission was informed by the previous acharyas. Your love and compassion for humanity flows through the pages of your books. You wanted to give the most unfortunate, the most valuable gift. And you gave the Galitam Phalam, the ripened fruits of the Vedic knowledge, in the form of Sriman Bhagavatam. You translated and commented on the emperor of all scriptures until your last breath. You started the Back to Godhead magazine in 1944. Today, over 1 million copies a month are distributed. In 1972, you formed the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust and directed that they should print as many books as many languages. Since then, someone on the planet receives one of your books every 3 seconds. Anxious to give us the 10th canto, you paused your translation and gave us the Krishna book. Anxious to give us the Chaitanya Charitamrita, you paused your translation of the 3rd canto and gave us Chaitanya Charitamrita. All the while, you gave us 2,200 recorded lectures, 1,300 recorded conversations, and you penned over 6,000 letters. You also gave us prasadam, chanting of the holy name, a global home to live in, and the association of wonderful Vaishnavas. Devotees of every nationality, all are united in their diversity due to their intense love for you. There is no record of anyone giving as much as you did. And for this, the world remains indebted. Just as the beauty of a mountain cannot be appreciated when we are in close proximity, but its towering beauty and prowess becomes more distinct to us as we go further away. In a similar way, the world will fully grasp your glorious contribution with the passing of time. While your movement is institutionally an infant, it is destined to redirect the course of history. Srila Prabhupada, you will be celebrated as the transmitter of the highest truth. You had so little, but your conviction was great. You were able to multiply that faith capital, and today we have a worldwide community of dedicated Vaishnavas working tirelessly to fulfill your order. Your inspirational and navigational leadership will continue to inspire your followers to share this most valuable gift for generations to come. You are an inspirational leader who empowered your followers to do the impossible. And for you, they would carry a mountain on their back. Srila Prabhupada, you influenced art, literature, Vedic ecology, diet, and lifestyle. You are aware of the state of the free-spirited world that you expertly framed your purports and messages, keeping intact the doctrinal integrity and messages spoken at the time of creation. The same message is being delivered to the most disqualified hedonistic society. Srila Prabhupada, you are genius in the way you have conceived and developed your movement. By divine dispensation, your movement continues to grow and strengthen. In your purport to Sriman Bhagavatam, 9.15, verse 15, you claim that ISKCON is the sound incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Your movement is a safe house in this age. Srila Prabhupada, I thank you again and again and again for everything you have done and for everything you have given us. Please forgive me for my unlimited offenses, and I pray that I would one day become a useful instrument in your service. All glories to your divine grace on this most auspicious occasion for your Vyasa Puja, your struggling grandson, Govardhan Das.
His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Okay, so now we're going to go into the Abhishek ceremony for Srila Prabhupada, followed by the Bhoga offering, and then we'll do Pushpanjali, and then Guru Puja, and then Prasadam will be served actually. We have some garlands that are at the table where Jalangi Mataji is seated at the moment. That is for sale if you'd like to buy. There's a few of them, there's not too many. If you'd like to buy them, please, you can see here to offer to Srila Prabhupada. So, we good? Pandu? Okay. Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya. Hari Hari. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Hari. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namo. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prachadine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Prasyachadi Satarine Namaste. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadada Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadada Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Everybody please chant. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,